this idea of, thinking global, act local, that means something. And it especially means something in the food and beverage world. We, of course, should help cultivate relationships with people that bring us our food.
Oh, absolutely.
Georgians need to eat Georgia eggs, and, we actually raise enough eggs for all Georgians to eat Georgian eggs based on consumption. But we only eat 20% of Georgia eggs, which is fascinating.
So does your recipe involve eggs?
Well, he brought up the idea of mayonnaise, and I can go very deep and long on mayonnaise, but mayonnaise is one of those pure recipes.
It's like hollandaise. It's like two
It
or three
is
ingredients.
the emulsion of egg and fat, and egg and oil, and the idea of you can cook with it, you can put it on a tomato sandwich, and so my recipe is mayonnaise. Everything room temperature.
That's very
That's
key.
A lot of people get scared of mayonnaise.
Or eggs at room temperature.
Yeah, or exactly, eggs at room temperature. So it's a fresh egg. It's just the yolk. I put a little kosher salt, a pinch, a dash of salt in there. It actually helps the lecithin in the egg absorb the oil more, and slowly drizzle the oil in. What I love about mayonnaise is it's not a machine thing for me. It's a handmade thing. There's a great quote about James Beard. His mom, he would watch his mom actually made it with a fork and a plate.
That's awesome.
Not even a bowl, because of the whisking action of that fork. And I like watching the moment the oil starts binding with that egg and you've captured the emulsion. That moment is magical for me with food. And then you start just drizzling in. And then people say it can only absorb so much oil. Actually, there's enough lecithin if you work it mechanically enough.
We put a gallon of oil into a yolk at school in experimental kitchen.
Yeah, and if you freeze it, it's funny. If you freeze the yolk and thaw it out, you can go into a huge volumes of oil per yolk.
I think that's an interesting analogy. I'm a guy who often speaks in analogies, but the emulsion is actually dispersion, and and it keeps the droplets apart. But they don't come together, and that's why it doesn't break. So it's a dispersing that brings it together.
Yeah, it's a combination of dispersion. I agree. And so once I get that going, it's really I use 4 to 6 ounces of oil per yolk.
Okay.
And then I'll put in a little vinegar, white vinegar, and maybe a squeeze of lemon at the end. And when I went to CIA, Culinary Institute of America, I think we've
Agent
fully
Hopkins.
explored that. I remember when I was being instructed on mayonnaise, and I grew up with homemade mayonnaise, my mom would put paprika on top.
Oh, yeah.
So we would always have the little jar in our refrigerator that just had the paprika on top, and so you would dive into it. And I mentioned that, of course, to a French chef who just scoffed at this notion
Isn't that a
of
great
paprika
thing?
in the mayonnaise.
It's the little things that, because there's nothing really new. There's no new ingredients. It's just what makes, it's those little things that do. I mean, people who grew up with me across the street in my little town in Mansura, Louisiana, they ate their gumbo with a big sweet potato. We had a big sweet potato growing area. And that was like, big deal.
Oh, yeah.
They eat the sweet potato with gumbo. So first thing I put
Like
gumbo
you're
in the menu.
wrong.
Yeah. First thing I did at Watershed, I put gumbo in the menu, served it with a baked sweet potato. I thought that was amazing. And some people that didn't get it loved it, and some people that knew about that loved it.
Right.
So it was love. And if you don't like the sweet potato, guess what? You don't have to eat it.